Trust the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. That's what it says in Psalm 37, verses 3 and 4. But unfortunately, we have gone way past that, and we lean more on our own understanding and on the understanding of our doctors and physicians instead of coming to God for wisdom to know what to do when we are sick. But this doesn't happen just, it's not something that has just happened in the past 100 years. It's been happening for thousands of years, even in biblical times. And so I wanted to read to you something, a couple verses from 2 Chronicles, chapter 16, verses 12 and 13. It says, in the 39th year of his reign, Asa was afflicted with a disease of his feet. Though his disease was severe, even in his illness, he did not seek help from the Lord, but only from his physicians. And I'm sure since he was the king, he had a lot of money. He could pay a lot of money to his physicians, and he probably sought the best physicians in the whole country or in the whole world. But 2 years later, it says, he died. Verse 14 says, then in the 41st year of his reign, Asa died and rested with his ancestors. So, where did it take him? All his trust in the physicians took him nowhere. And that is the same thing that is happening with us nowadays. Our trusting in physicians and in their knowledge above all, instead of coming to God and asking Him for wisdom, is leading us down the wrong path. Because unfortunately, even though the doctors try to help us, many doctors do try to help us as best they can with the knowledge that they have, but they've been indoctrinated for years and years from the pharmaceutical companies. They've been told that pills and surgeries are what is going to help them. Pills, surgeries, antibiotics, vaccines, all these kind of things are what is going to help them. That we need to take the good with the bad. And unfortunately, the side effects are a lot worse than we think. And they're killing people a lot more than we think they are. The side effects are terrible. I want to read to you the story of Naaman, who was a leper. It says, now Naaman was commander of the army of the king of Aram. This is from 2 Kings chapter 5. He was a great man in the sight of his master and highly regarded because through him the Lord had given victory to Aram. He was a valiant soldier, but he had leprosy. The nice thing about this story is that there was a little girl, a young girl, that was a Jewish girl, who had been taken captive, and she knew that God could heal him from leprosy. And she told her mistress in verse 3, if only my master would see the prophet who is in Samaria, he would cure him of his leprosy. So she knew that God could cure this man through the prophet. And so a few verses later, we see that Naaman did in fact go to the prophet Elisha. And in verse 8 it says, when Elisha that Elisha sent a messenger to say to him, go wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan, and your flesh will be restored and you will be cleansed. That's in verse 10. But Naaman got really angry because he knew that this was one of the dirtiest, if not the dirtiest river in all of Israel. And so he said, well, aren't not Abana and Pharpar, the rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel? Couldn't I just wash in them and be cleansed? And he turned and went off in rage. However, Naaman's servants went to him and said, my father, if the prophet had told you to do some great thing, would you not have done it? How much more then when he tells you, wash and be cleansed. So he went down and dipped himself in the Jordan 7 times, just like the prophet Elisha had said, and his flesh was restored and became clean like that of a young boy. So there you go. God healed him as soon as he obeyed the simple thing that he asked him to do. So many times, we expect miraculous healings, but God, in his wisdom, just wants to see if we're going to obey him and do something simple so that we can be healed. Will we do that simple thing? Are we willing to do it so we can see restoration in our life? If we do it, we will be healed. If not, if we continue to seek the help of physicians and pay a lot of money to get their knowledge and wait for them, for as long as they can see us, we may not see healing. And in fact, the side effects might kill us. Many people are dying from the side effects of these drugs or surgeries or whatever else. So we need to make sure that we stop trusting so much in physicians and we put our trust back where it belongs, which is in God. We need to come to him in prayer. We need to ask him for wisdom. We need to listen to those who have gone before us and who have biblical knowledge and can help us. Because a healthy lifestyle is what's going to help us. Something simple is what's going to help us. And so I really invite you to think about this today. And on Monday, there's going to be a biblical health documentary series that starts up for 7 days. I've posted about it on my Facebook page, so make sure that you check that out and register for that, because that's going to be really helpful for you. I'm really excited to learn from all those people that are willing to make this series possible for us. And I highly recommend that you do that as well, because knowledge is key. And we need to learn to stop trusting wholeheartedly in our doctors and physicians and start really trusting in God, doing the simple things that he asks us to do so that our health can be restored once and for all. And once our health is restored, we need to keep up the healthy habits on a consistent basis so that we can stay healthy, stay fit, stay healthy, and be energetic. Because that's what God wants us to do. He wants us to be healthy, physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, basically in every single area. He wants to restore our health, but we need to stop putting all our trust in physicians and put our trust in him and do the simple things that he asks us to do. Are you willing to do that? I hope so. Because if we don't want to get to the point that it's too late and you get so sick and you have so much pain that you just wish you would die, or you actually die. Take inventory today and do the simple things that God asks you to do, either right directly to you or through others, and live the healthy lifestyle that he wants you to live so that your health can be restored in every area.